Hello. Hi all. Welcome to Practically, and this is Trinath Chukla. Uh, my voice is clear now. Hello, Sriharsha, Koteshwari. Yeah, hi. It's not loading from my end. Second. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for confirming. Hi all. Yeah, we'll start the session today. Uh, we have been discussed about a storytelling, like how to set up a story. I mean, how to write a story. Like, what are all the story elements in order to create a story, right? As we discussed that the genre of the story and how to set it up, the dialogues. So we discussed all these things. So today we are gonna discuss about the tips. Means you got all the information about how to write a story. Now we are gonna discuss about what are all the tips in order to write a story, or we call about a storytelling, because in order to go with the storytelling you need to write something. So how to write it, we'll discuss about it right now. So see, as everyone knows that storytelling is a powerful tool, because if you take any of the medium, any medium, if you take, like if you are in any business, or like if you are in any profession, storytelling is a powerful tool, because you need to impress someone, and it should be impacting on others, definitely, because whatever the story you're telling, be it like any you have done any ad film or ad shoot or something, you have a concept of ad, you need to convey that in an impactful manner. That's what the storytelling, we need to say that in an effective manner. What do you mean by effective? Because the other person, maybe the reader or the person who is listening to your story, they should be connected to your story, because that is very very important. And your story should be engaging. It's not like they are yawning and they are sleeping, right? So now we have few things in order to create it. We have already discussed the elements, we have already discussed the dialogues, how to create it, and genre of the stories, and story types also, different types of stories. So now we'll go ahead with the few interesting points. So first one is, see, you must have hookup. We need to call a hookup. What is the hook point in every story? Even if you go to a movie, or if you're reading a book, or if you're saying a stand-up comedy or anything, first first impression is the best impression, we call it, right? So similar way, the audience needs to hook up for your story, how you're saying it. How do you hook up the story? Because see, it's the theme of the story. For example, if you're a stand-up comedian and you went for a stand-up comedy and you started it off, but your beginning is not good, or maybe it's not engaging, so people may not show the interest or what you're trying to say in the later part, because you, maybe the later part you might say in a very impressive manner, but they don't feel it like interesting, right? So the main thing is, you need to, there is a hookup point, you need to create it. As a writer, you, this is your part, you need to create it. We already discussed about inciting incident. What is inciting incident? Inciting incident is nothing but story starts with one word, because we'll show that in, it's called a setup. we already discussed about three-act structure. There is a structure of the story. So in the three-act structure, the first one is setup. Story starts with one setup. It will go like a progressive manner, because scene by scene. So what we are trying to convey to the audience, it will go in a scene by scene. So in this structure, it's going to be next setup or next world, because he or she as a protagonist, they thought that they want to go to other world, they want to try something, they want to get into the nationals in wrestling. We talked about Dangal movie, so they want to do something. See, they are from A to B. They are starting from A and they're going into B. In order to go to that A to B, there is a one scene, one particular incident, which we will talk about, inciting incident. That is a turn. Story is turning. So in order to turn, there is some incident. That is actually, we call it an inciting incident. So first of all, when you're writing it, the inciting incident should be very effective, because that is the only we talk about, like, first impression, right? So that is the first impression an audience would be getting it. Oh, okay, this type of story we are trying to listen, or this type of story he is trying to narrate. So this is how it should be. So inciting incident is very, very important. Okay, so how you are trying to convey it. So that is the reason, hook point, we call it a hook point. Hooking up a story or hooking up an audience. So how you are designing it, that is very, very important. If you see that in example of inciting incident, you can see that in Dangal movie, that person, he shattered his dreams. Okay, then after that he came to know that why can't a girl fight? I mean, that is what his impression. So that is what the idea he got it. That is what his ideology. So that is the inciting incident in the story. So they are trying to, then the story turns. It's going into a different world. Okay. And we need to draw a theme. We already discussed about theme. What is theme in your story? See, most of the people will ask you, hey, what is your story about? They are asking about a theme. They don't know the terminology of theme, but they are asking about what you're conveying through the story. Whatever it is. It doesn't mean that there should be a moral message. Theme is nothing but a message, but it doesn't mean every time you're giving a moral message. It could be anything. It could be any message, any ideology. It comes out of a director or the writer who writes that story. As we discuss the theme, when we are discussing about themes and concepts, it's underneath the water. Sometimes it's an undercurrent, we are saying it, because we may not say that the theme is, this is what the theme. I'm sorry, someone is writing. If the starting is not nice, then listener won't have interest in remaining part. How much progress? Nisha, we'll take a questions. Okay. Yeah. See, Nisha, are you saying that interest the session, because the story writing itself is an interesting concept. So already we discussed the elements, dialogue part, three-act structure. So all the elements, how to set up a story. So we are trying to convey that right now, the tips, the main elements, bullet points, we'll call it, right? So that is what we are discussing right now. So we'll take the questions later part. Okay. So we need to draw a theme. What is theme? Theme is nothing but a message. So why do we write a theme? In order to convey it. See, this is what my story is. I want to tell this way. See, in a Dangal movie, if you take an example of Dangal movie, so you take an example of maybe the themes. It could be different from person to person. How they conveyed it and how you take it also. As an audience also, the theme conveys, because as an audience, my mindset, how I am taking it, that is also conveys the theme. So how we convey the theme? So we need to prepare it, and every story we discuss about the storytelling. Every story should be having beginning, mid, and ending. So this is mandatory. So in this, how you are conveying a theme. So you need to draw a theme out of it. You need to make a note of that. What exactly the story is about, and in Dangal movie, they are trying to convey that women empowerment. A girl in a conservative family, they can also come out. They can do that because they have taken the theme of that story. That is what they want to convey. It. That is the ideology of the writer, and make it simple because you need to write it in a simple manner. See, for example, few stories you can see that they are complex stories. Complex means they have included many characters. They have included many conflicts. We discussed about conflict, right? Conflict is nothing but a problem in the story. So if you are, see, one problem is okay, two problems. If you are putting two problems together, that's fine. But if you are keeping almost 5 to 6 problems in a very small story, or I can say 1 hour movie or 2 hours movie, if you are making like 3 to 4 problems, audience may get confused because what exactly you're trying to say they may not understand. So that is the reason few books or few stories we may not get interest to read the book or to go to that because we can't understand it because those are complex the stories we call it. Why we call it a complex stories? Because they have included many things. The writer or the director who is writing that book or who is making a film, they are trying to tell you many things. More things included, like more characters, as we discussed, more conflicts. So all these things will make an audience or the reader will make like they can't understand what is happening, where the story is going. You can't understand. So that is the reason. In order to say one story, a simple manner, keep it very simple because the other person, in order to read or in order to connect to our story, so we need to make our story in a simple way. So you need to plan it before itself. If you know that the story got twists and turns, many twists, many turns, right? Few stories you can see that. If you know that the story has a twist and turns, you need to make it in a simple manner. How to do that? It's not that you're reducing the twist, but you're trying to put that in a simple way. How you are taking the twist, how you're writing it. Okay, including all the 3 act structure, including all the story elements. So how you're making it very simple. And next one is change your voice with different characters. If you see stand-up comedy, I don't know how many people have watched stand-up comedy or storytelling in a dais. A person, maybe he or she would be narrating your story. So I don't know how many people have watched it, but please do watch if you get a chance because they want to grab the attention of a viewer. The person who is viewing it. So they might have done in such a way. See, there are 4 characters in the story, or 4 characters, or 5 characters, or 2 characters. It's up to you. Up to you means as a writer I'm talking about. So they will be changing the voice as per the personality. They will say that in a sarcasm manner, or maybe in a humor. They add some humor in it. So why do they add it? Why do we add that? Because you need to show that difference. You need to keep engage the audience. Because if it is for everything is reacting in a similar way for every character, it could be like a flat. So don't react the similar way for everything because it would be like a flat performance, we call it. So it could be more interesting. See, one curious thing. For example, if there is any accident or any serious issue happen, how do you say that? How do you say that? It would be very loud and you will say that in a very intense voice, right? The similar way, if something happened in a very happy mode, Contrast I'm talking about. So how he will say that? He needs to make you laugh. He or she, the person, needs to make you laugh, right? The similar way, that depends on the voice and the character. So that voice should be, depending on the character, how the character is behaving, what is his mood. So as a storyteller, okay, so I need to maintain that, the mood and as well as the character voice. Okay, and we need to, this is the very interesting point. See, this is like a central message. What is central message? Anyway, we are trying to convey our message, right? In a whole story, if you take an example of Dangal movie, we are trying to convey that this is the women empowerment story, right? It's a dad story. I mean, a father who is having a dream. He wants to reach his goal. It's his story. It's a father's story, right? So how he reached how he reached that level from A to B or A to Z, how he reached, what are all the hurdles, what are all the problems he has been through in this journey. So we need to clear about what the central message or central idea. See, the central message in the Dangal movie, the sports backdrop, they took it as a sports backdrop and they want to convey that in a sports manner only. I mean, they don't want to deviate from the story in any manner. If you read any book also, they don't want to deviate from the central message what they're trying to convey. Because as a writer, you need to create yourself. See, this is my central message. I don't want to deviate from here. See, first thing, we'll get an idea. As we discussed that, we'll get one of the idea. Okay, in this idea, I want to create a story. This is the main central idea. And I want to create the story on this. So how I am setting up a story elements, story conflict, story characters, and dialogues in that story. So I have everything now. But make sure those are in a central message or idea should be not deviating from in these characters, from this conflict. It should not be deviated. So make sure that is your part. Okay, am I going into, because how you get it, you need to read multiple times. Whatever you have written, you need to read it multiple times. Then you will come to know it's not deviated, or is it deviated or not, or how my idea is conveying in the whole story. That is very, very important, because your idea should be conveying in the whole story, because that is our motto, right? That is how we are trying to convey. And next one is a conflict. We discussed, from the beginning of these sessions, we discussed about without conflict there is no story. If you take Ramayana, Mahabharata, anything, any story you take, if there is no conflict, no story. If you take a Ramayana, Lord Ram, he is also, he's staying in one of the kingdom, Ayodhya, and he got everything ready. Everything is set, and he needs to rule the Ayodhya. But what is the conflict? He obeyed to his father's word, like he needs to go to Aranyavas, like forest. That is actually the conflict. If there is no conflict, if his father is not asking him to go there, so there is no story at all, because it's like a regular pattern. What he is doing, he'll be doing the same thing in his whole life. But where is the conflict? See, that is what, if father is asking him to go there, then the conflict starts, because he doesn't want to listen or whatever. He agreed, he conveyed the same thing to his father, that I'll be going, right? So that is where the conflict starts. That is where the journey starts. Otherwise, there is no story. So first of all, you need to, in order to reach audience, any manner, any medium, so you need to showcase your conflict in the first beginning, I mean in a setup of the story. Why? Because once they come to know that, see, for example, if I say that one person is just going to the office at 9 o'clock and coming back by 6 o'clock, it's just a 9 to 6 job he is doing every day. So if I'm saying that he has done it for 1 year, 1 month, 1 week, so I mean, no difference. He's just doing his job. So the story is flat. There is no story, we call it. What is the story in it? So he's doing his regular job. There is no story, but there is a conflict. Within a 1 week, he's losing his job because he has done some issue, maybe in his job. So he that is where he's losing his job within a 1 week. But he got all the troubles, like we call it like any financial troubles or any issues with his family. So how we are portraying it and how he manages to do that. Will he get another job? Will he find another job, or something happened like unexpectedly? Maybe he also didn't expect it. Something happened to him, or maybe some issue with his what do we call any health issues, we call it. Maybe any of the conflict. That is what we are talking about, a conflict. So the main character or the protagonist, if it is going in a normal way, if he is trying to reach his goal, see, he should be having his goal. I want to see myself. Even in office also, when he's joining, he'll be saying that, how do you see yourself after 5 years? If this is the question, he will say that maybe I can see myself as a manager. See, everyone is having their own dreams or goals to reach it. But how he is going to reach those goals? What is his journey? There you need hurdles. There you need obstacles. Then only that journey will take it as a story. That's how we'll take it as a story. There should be some conflict. He cannot reach it just like that, right? We also can't accept it. If I want to become an IAS officer or IPS, so I cannot become just like that, right? I cannot be an IAS officer in overnight. So I need to plan it. I need to plan it accordingly. I need to work it accordingly, right? Similar way, for every story, we should be having a conflict, and we need to design it such a way in order to create it. That is your part. You means as a writer, you need to take care of it. How I'm gonna convey this conflict. How I'm gonna set up this conflict. Okay. And we need to have a clear structure. What is the structure? We already discussed about 3-act structure, right? So in this 3-act structure, what are all the ingredients we need to set it up? First of all, we discussed about the setup. Means any story we just now discussed that beginning, middle, and end. Setup. Beginning is nothing but a setting up. What I'm trying to set up, I'm trying to, this is the story. I mean, this is the person, and this is what I want to convey. This is the setup kind of thing. In a book also, you will see that the preface. So they will say that about story, and as well as that author also, who is writing it. So they want to convey it. This type of story you are trying to read in this book. This is what the story about. This is what the author about. So they want to convey that. The similar way, beginning, when you're trying to set it up a story, you need to convey that, okay, this is act 1. Setup is act 1. Confrontation. Confrontation is nothing but what are all the elements you need to put it inside. As we discussed that inciting incident. We need to insert that inciting incident in the story. Okay, after setup. And after that, we need to raise the action. And midpoint, we discussed about a midpoint also, right? So midpoint is nothing but story, comes to half of the page. I mean, half of the story. I mean, whatever the story, it's like 2 hours of story, we have completed successfully 1 hour. If it is 200 pages of story, we have come to 100 pages. That means you have come across the half of the story. You have come to know already as a reader or the viewer, I can say, if you're watching a movie, so you have completed 1 hour. That is called, you have come to half of the story. Then from next half, what is happening in the story? Again, how you're raising the conflict and how you're dipping down or falling down. So this is a roller coaster ride kind of thing. So it should be like ups and downs. It doesn't mean it should be flat, as we have been discussing that. So it should be like that. So the 3 act structure, the act 1, act 2, act 3. Make sure that whatever the story you have selected or whatever the story you're writing, it should be in these acts, so that the other person could understand easily or connect to the story. So mind your personal experiences. So why do I need to share my personal experiences? Because if you see any influencer, or if you see any videos of influencer or motivational movies or motivational speeches, they will say that their personal experiences. They will say that they are saying they are taking one context. Maybe it's a political context, or maybe it's a educational context, right? So any context they will take, they will create some story. They will say that this is my personal experience. So what happened? For example, I went there. I saw one person. See, I got shocked because he is not a maybe in a normal shape. In the sense, he find it awkward. Maybe something. This is how they will create a story. That means the real storytelling. We call about whatever we are trying to convey the stories. As we discussed in this last sessions, all the sessions, we have discussed that stories are fictional. Sometimes few people create. I mean, fictional means nothing but you're creating a story. But somewhat, maybe you can put your personal experiences, or maybe you have seen somewhere, maybe you have read that in the newspaper. You can put anything, any context, but somehow you are trying to create a story. That is a cook-up story, right? But though it's a cook-up story, you need to add few elements to make it active, few elements of your experiences. Okay, one day I went there, I saw someone, this is what happened. That is how you need to create your own experiences in the story, where you can see that in the most of the motivational speakers, because they try to motivate you. Because I have done, why they say that their personal experiences, because see, as a person, I have done this many things. I have struggled a lot, but you are intellectual than me, but you can achieve more than my whatever I have achieved. That is how they will create a kind of some a buzz, we call it ideology, or it will boost you. Yeah, I can do that. I want to do better than this. I want to set a goal, like higher goals, because you cannot stop it in a in a beginning phase of anything. You need to try hard, practice, and you will go or get into succeeded or success place, or successful person, we call it. If you take anything, any profession, it doesn't mean that I'm talking about any single profession. Anything, if you take a writing field, or if you're talking about your education, maybe you want to become an IAS, or maybe you want to complete your engineering, right? You want to get into the software field, any field, be it anything. You need to have some experience. You need to struggle a lot in order to do that. So that is the struggle. Whatever the struggle you have, that is what the experience. That is how you will get an experience, right? The hero or the protagonist, we call about in movies, sorry, he's getting ups and downs. He's having some troubles, the conflicts, ups and downs, right? He's going ups and down. Why he's going ups and down? Those are all the experiences. That is how, when he tries for not one time, maybe twice, thrice, then he'll become a successful person. Then he achieves his goal. I guess I'm making sense. Okay. uh, and engage your audience. See, this is the very, very important thing. All the elements are in a one side. Engaging your audience is another side. Because how you are engaging your audience? Because audience is nothing but one person. Maybe you may get a crowd audience, right? You want to convey that in a bigger group. Everyone, everyone wants to showcase their skills in a bigger group. So how you are doing that? Because they have their own mindsets. See, as a person, if a person as you, like if you're listening to my class or session, you have your own expectation. I want to write this story. I want to write, this kind of story, scientific story, any story. So I need to get some inputs from this session, how to write a story or how to tell a story, right? So this is your expectation. It's not that everyone in the class would be having the same expectation, right? So maybe few people got to know, like, this, I need this because only for my exam. I need this to improve my career in the future also. If I want to get into one profession as a writer, maybe I can take it. Maybe this will help. Maybe this may not helpful right now at present, but you might, if you want to write a book in the future, maybe this really helpful when you got all these points, when you recollect these points in the future. So as the I'm talking about an audience, everyone is having their own opinions and set of minds, but as a person who is trying to engage those audience, he'll be having only one agenda. As a storyteller, as a writer, you will be having only one agenda, that is you need to engage your all audience, all type of audience. Why? Or we can say, I need to convey my whatever the ideology to all you guys. That is my motto. And how you do that? Because I have a structure. I followed some structure in the story. I have written it in a formal way, and I make it in a very simple manner so that everyone can understand. See, and I want to make it in an inciting way or inciting incident. We discussed it, right? So that should be like you should be also having an excitement. Yeah, this is the story I want to listen, or this is the new points I want to grab. This is how I can make it. This makes sense to me. That is how I need to create it. All these elements I need to create in order to engage an audience, be it anyone, like be it any audience. So you need to create in this type of mood. We also call about auditorium. In the auditorium we have a mood. So I need to create that mood. That is very, very, very important. So we need to observe good storytellers. See, in order to, if you want to learn the car driving, okay. So first of all, what you need to do, you need to observe the person who is driving a car. What is he doing? How, when he is changing the gears. Okay. So definitely, in the sense, see, for example, in the car driving itself, definitely you need to sit in the driver's position, then only you will come to know. Okay, you need to know, if you need to know the swimming, you need to get inside, get into the water, then only you can swim, right? The similar way, you need to get into that position, but before that you need to observe the things, what they are doing, what are all the precautions, and how they are conveying. This all comes under experience, but whatever the experience they have, you are trying to observe it. Oh, okay, this is the way they are doing it. For example, if you forget something, you're in a deep discussion, maybe as a storyteller, you forget something in the audience. You cannot say that, sorry, I forgot something. You cannot say that. You need to continue that. In order to continue, how you manage it in the same context, maybe you need to crack a joke, you need to laugh. So other persons, like in a sense, you need to create some impact. We are trying to create some impact. So how you are creating an impact, how the other person, already the experienced person, the storytellers, how they have created an impact, you need to observe it. Then only you will get connected to it. Okay? And narrow the scope of your story. So you have a story, you already written one story. There is a story arc. We call it a story arc. Arc is nothing but, yeah, the story starts from A, story ends up at Z. I mean Z, whatever you call it. From A to Z. That is the story structure. This is also called a story arc. Story transformed from this place to this place. So you need to know the scope of the story. Okay, what is the scope that I can convey this matter? See, in Dangal movie, we discussed about the Dangal movie taking as an example. If you take an example of, there is a scope in that story to tell about a girl fighting in a conservative family, how a girl comes out and she fights for that. It's like it's a normal. You may see that in a normal way, but what is the scope? As a writer, you should know that what is the scope in order to convey my message or convey this theme. What is the scope where I can narrate a story in a better manner? Because whatever the idea I have received, or maybe I got an idea like this. Okay, this is the way how I need to convey it. So, but that idea should be having a scope. If you say that, example, few ideas, where sometimes few ideas may not have that scope to say that, but few ideas maybe they can expand it in such a beautiful manner. See, this is a very simple idea. What girls empowerment or women empowerment we call it. Girls are coming out in a conservative family and they do the haircut and all, and they want to come out of the box. Okay, if you take that is an idea, or a father's dream is an idea. See, every father, they might have their own dream of their own self. I mean, they themselves, and as well as they might be dreaming about their children also, right? Their children, they want to get into placed in some other company, or they want to get successful in their life. Anything, be it anything, they want to get the money out of it. So every father is having this kind of a dream, but we need to know that whether the scope is there or not in the story. So this is the raw idea I have. I need to make a very good structure in the story. I need to create an impact to an audience. You're getting my point. So in this small concept, small idea, women empowerment. So from this, I want to convey it to the big or larger group, maybe in a larger audience. So how I am constructing a story. The script is, I mean, whatever the story or script we call it, script is nothing but a blueprint. A blueprint of a building. You can see that, see, this is what the blueprint is. This is how, when we are constructing a building, you should have a blueprint. Then only you will get an idea. This is how we will construct the house. Here you will get a kitchen. Here you will get a hall. This is how we are constructing the the building. Similar way, when you're writing a story, you need to have a blueprint. In the sense, you need to have an idea about it, how and what is the scope in order to convey it. In the sense, okay, this is what the point I want to get highlighted. This is the way I will convey to my story. So this is how you need to write. Okay. Yes, guys. Thank you. And we'll go to the questions. Yeah, I'm just getting it. Nisha, if there is no conflict, there is no story, no interesting part. Yes, you're right. Uh, Problems faced by the main character are known as conflict. Yes, whatever the conflict, they are receiving it. The first, they are in the happy world. They want to have some. I mean, they want to get into one place, or they might be having a dream. So, in order to achieve that, whatever the problems they have faced, that is called a conflict. Uh, Lakshmi, yeah, I have doubt. Yes, how to express that emotion when storytelling? Uh, how to express that emotion? See, when you create a conflict in a proper way, the drama will come. I mean, the drama works. For example, a father who wants to who wants his children to be placed in a very good place, or maybe we can call it they want to get into the nationals, for example. So there is a drama between father and daughter. Definitely, he will be having affection, love, everything in his daughter, right? But the similarly, I mean, vice versa, daughter is also having the same affection and love towards her father. But the thing is, how you are getting, how they are getting, emotional, or maybe putting the drama inside. So if you put a good conflict in the proper conflict, drama comes. Through drama, you will be exposed. I mean, that through drama only, I can say we are trying to convey our uh, emotions, because human emotions, right? See, he doesn't want to say that. Uh, See, father won't say that I love you, right? Normally, and I'm talking about a normal middle class fathers who are like they have their own things, but they won't say that, yeah, I love you. Most of the times, maybe they are not expressive to say that, but their things, whatever they are doing it, that shows the love, whatever it is. So that is how you can make it emotional. If we tell the story with our heart, emotion will come by itself. Yeah, Nisha is answering the question. See, that is what we want to convey it. That is how it is. Nisha, what is the meaning of scope? Scope means we should be having that vacuum, we call it. See, for this point, this raw idea, I can say this much. So we need to know the scope of it. We call it a scope. Scope means what is the area? I mean, what is the area? I can say that. Okay, from this I can go to this way. From I start with the A, it goes to point B. So I need to have that scope in order to say that, because taking a chance, scope is nothing but taking a chance to convey my idea to audience. Manvita, so what is the very important in storytelling, either other than, I guess maybe you have written in either than elements of a story to be the story more effective. See, both the things are very important, story elements and story effective. If you have a story elements, if you make that in an effective way, then only that is like impacting to an audience. Because if you don't have story elements, one of the element is conflict also, right? As we discussed that if there is no conflict, there is no story. So without having elements, we cannot leave the elements, and we cannot go in an effective way. That may not effective. If there is no conflict, the story is not effective. So similar way, you need to have both in hand. Yeah, I guess you repeated the same question, Manvita. Both are important. We need to say our story in effective manner, and as well as story elements also very important in order to write a story. Yeah, Manvita, this is the last class. As I've told you guys, maybe I'll just repeat that. Uh, the last tip, or I can say that, and anyone who wants to continue the writing process, you can take 200, 300 words stories. Those are available in Google. Please search that. Please take those stories and make those stories in an expandable manner, like 1000 words. Put it like a target of 1000 words. I want to make, there is a 200 story, 200 word story. I want to make it 1000 words. So how to do that? There are three things you need to insert inside that. One is dialogue. You can expand the conversation on those characters. Second one is you can use extra characters. Like if there are two characters in the story, I can make four characters. That is how you're creating, something other than what they have given. And the third one is you can create another story in the same story that comes to a same output also. Because I mean, for example, if one person is saying how important the car driving is, maybe he will tell you one story. This is what happened in my past. I went there. I was alone. I was not aware of like how to drive and all, but I had a car, so I stuck there. So maybe he is trying to explain you the story in that what the context of the car driving. The similar way, whatever the story they have given in 200 or 300 or 500 words, so you need to convey other story so that it will be expandable, like 1000 words, maybe more than that. It's up to you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Uh, if anyone is having a last doubt or anything, we can. Otherwise, we'll wind up the session. Yeah, guys. Thank you very much for that, and keep writing.